Are you saying on another galaxy? It's not possible that there could be...
It's extremely unlikely that there would be creatures as similar to us as the dominant ones in Star Wars.
Oh boy, the man ahead of his time. Here was a genius. Put him in a frame and put him above your desk on the wall, and every morning when you get your coffee, you can get down there and grovel and worship the great, the man ahead of his time. We don't even remember his name, but boy, he was sure ahead of his time. Oh, and why was he ahead of his time? Well, I guess he went on the Johnny Carson show and got famous. He was the face, right, that everybody was supposed to watch, and he would explain it, the science to you. And of course, what he did was he took the Star Wars show that was going on around that time, because all the kids were watching it, and he said, "Now, okay, kids, that's not true, the Star Wars thing, that there'd be human beings running the galaxy. Why, it could never happen. Another galaxy, or even probably other solar systems, it would be almost impossible to have humans. And if there were other creatures, they wouldn't look like humans. It'd probably be ugly. What are they doing? Preparing us for the ugliness of Yahweh when he gets here? Because one of the smartest men ahead of his time doesn't believe in God, and he thinks you're stupid for believing in God. You see, he thinks that somehow by accident we formed on this earth, and why, it couldn't ever happen again in a billion trillion years, in a million zillion light years of galaxies around the universe. Of course, they're all there, all the stars and the planets flying around gazillion light years away, and we know exactly how far they are, and of course which planets have water and stuff, but they couldn't, and we absolutely know this, they could not possibly have evolved from a polywog, because it's like a 1 in a gazillion chance that humans exist. So therefore, I am God. Get down on your knees. You see how destiny has put you all into my hands, you little polywogs. Get down and worship me, because I am the son of the son of the son of the great man who was ahead of his time and was famous on Johnny Carson and my brother's Einstein, and we know everything, and my other brother Daryl. So just listen to us, because you're just all foolish. Right. Well, guys, I'm going to talk about this and some other thoughts that I have. But now for your viewing pleasure, we're going to go and take a little drive and see the lake, because I found a new lake. Take a look at this. And we'll talk more about this.
Star Wars starts out saying it's on some other galaxy.
Right.
And then you see there's people. And starting in scene 1, there's a problem, because human beings are the result of a unique evolutionary sequence based upon so many individually unlikely random events on the Earth. In fact, I think most evolutionary biologists would agree that if you started the Earth out again and just let those random factors operate, you might wind up with beings that are as smart as us and as ethical and artistic and all the rest, but they would not be human beings. That's for the Earth. So in another planet, different environment, very likely to have human beings.
Well, guys, David Post here. Well, I was just driving home, and I looked at the map, and I noticed this big lake. It dawned on me that I had never been to this lake, and it's just a couple of miles from where I live, and I noticed it. Big lake. So I'm going over to take a look at it. Sorry about the window. It's all... I had to pull off the road to help somebody get out of a mud puddle, and a bunch of mud got spurted all over my front window. But anyway, I can't clean that right at the moment. So I'm kind of excited to see what this lake looks like. It's beautiful out today, but it is cold. Winter has arrived. I wondered why there was this beautiful, nice little freshly paved road that went out this way. I thought, where does it go? I wonder where that road goes. I'm not really sure how to get there. I'm pretty sure, looks like we'll turn left here. Oh my goodness, there's even a little town here. There's always little churches out in the middle of nowhere. You wonder who goes to these churches. It's a Baptist church. Out in the middle of nowhere. Salem. Huh. I don't know if this is the right way. What a nice little place, huh? Huh. Seems to be a lot of cedar trees out here. Love cedar trees. A little diversion on the way home so we can... It's always interesting to find out you didn't know it, but there's a big lake out here. Might be a nice little favorite place to go and relax, drink a cup of coffee, and look at the water. Ooh, what do we got here? Imagine we'll keep going straight. Although I don't know. I'm not looking at a map. I gotta look at the map. Yeah, we're on the right road here. The lake is probably to the left of me, but I don't see it. Should see it here in a minute. Huh. I'm always seeing things that I never saw before. Somebody building a big old house out here. Seems like an awful lot of people got money to build big homes out in the country. Oh, there's the lake. Wow. Isn't that nice? Our own little lake. I mean, this lake is not that far from where I live at all. It's just amazing. I did not know it was here. Did not know it was here. And it doesn't even look like they charge you to camp here or anything. I don't see any fish and game little boxes where you got to put money in or anything. It looks like a place where people just come out and camp, you know. What is that? Well, usually when they don't pay for it, there's always a little trash around, laying around. Quite a bit of trash. And you know why that is? You know, when you're looking at problems and you think, well, these stupid people, they just throw trash everywhere. I guess we'll have to lock them all up. Make more laws. Make it a fine. You know, that kind of thing. And you know what? We did that until the cows came home. And look, there's still garbage all over the place. So what do? What's the problem? just humans are bad? No. The reason why all this garbage is laying all over the place is because they charge you to pick up your trash. Now, if you're poor and they're making people homeless, where are you going to put your trash? If you got a whole bunch, if you go and camp somewhere and you're just living there and you keep bringing home cartons of milk and water and you build up all this cans and paper bags and all these things that you got to throw away. They're doing that. That's not something humans are doing, but this society is making all this trash. And then they want you to pay to have it recycled or something, and people don't have the money. The trash you see is a product of our society, not human nature gone wrong. It's the society that's gone wrong. It's the idea that we should charge people for breathing the air and drinking the water and having land where they can use that land instead of being homeless, you know? But isn't this nice? In spite of the fact there's a little trash laying around, it actually kind of makes me feel more at ease in some ways, because I know that there's not somebody out, police out here policing us. But there's a lake. What a nice little thing here. Well, why don't we just stop and let's see where we're going to point the camera. We'll just talk a little bit about a few things, guys. Okay, we wiped the window. Hope that's a little better. So Carl Sagan, that's what we were talking about. Carl Sagan says, and he doesn't just say, look, I don't believe in God. That's one thing. People can say that. I guess they can say that. They can say whatever they want. But the way he does it is he uses his clout as a scientist, and then he uses his fame, and he uses this almost like an intimidation factor, kind of like getting Johnny Carson to agree with him, because after all, Johnny, I am the scientist and I know everything. And Johnny's supposed to represent normal, the normal life, what everybody else is supposed to believe. So we're being set up. Okay, this is a program that everybody had to watch late night. All the grown-ups. Kids were in bed, and the grown-ups got to sit and watch some funny stuff that was vulgar. We get to snicker about, she's got a, no dress on, and look at, they're talking about sex, and and look at, Carl Sagan's on television, and of course he knows everything, right? All the smart people. Why, Johnny Carson, I love him. I watch him every night, and of course I agree with everything he says and does, because that's what they want me to do, right? Yay, Johnny Carson, he's the good guy. Well, look, I always watched Johnny Carson. Of course. We all did. But we were slowly being given characters that we trusted in order to introduce us to other characters that, they set us up to hope that we would trust, and by reinforcing it with people we definitely trusted with big smiles and were funny, Robin Williams, he did a little dance, little Joker, the Jester, came out and did a dance and some voices and some comedy. And we're like, oh, I like him. I trust him. Oh, but here's his brother, Carl Sagan. And he says the earth is a perfectly unusual accident. And you're all just a little bit of accidents. And of course, we've got to believe that. And anybody who doesn't is quite seriously stupid, because Carl Sagan says so. Well, friends, I don't think I'm stupid. I really don't. Actually, I think I've done more research than Carl Sagan, in a sense, in the place where it really counts. I went to the actual records, the Acacia records, inside of my heart. And I heard from the Holy Spirit. I listened, right, from the lips of Sophia. And she told me the truth, and I'll guarantee you what, it no way resembles the truth, or the lies, I should say, that these people are spitting out their mouth. I want you to listen to a little bit more of what Carl says, because I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I want you guys to really and truly see what he's trying to get you to believe in without really saying it. He didn't ever say, hey, you stupid people don't believe in God. He didn't really say that, because he knows he's on Johnny Carson's show, and a lot of people that watch that show, probably older people back in those days, they probably still believed in God. A few people. So he had to kind of smile and mock the people who still believe in that kind of crazy stuff. But he had to turn it around and make it, use something that the older people probably didn't like. Oh, they don't like Star Wars. So I'll just, and of course be hip for the young people who do like Star Wars. So he can use that as a prop for both, the older people and the younger people, and he can get famous, and everybody would like him. And so he says, yeah, this stupid Star Wars, it's misrepresenting the truth. Wait a minute. I thought they were doing pretty good telling us that there were beings from other planets that have such powers like God, right? Where they can beam you up, Scotty, or they can, regenerate a whole new planet like Spock and Kirk did in that one, The New Generation, or whatever the heck that movie was. I mean, they did things, travel, you go from one end of the universe, from one galaxy to another in split seconds. They were like gods, right? But that's not good enough. We want you to go further. What we want you to believe is that there is no God. Okay? And, well, I suppose what he's really saying, if you read between the lines, is I'm God. Me and my brothers, Einstein and Freud, we're God. Elon Musk, you must get down on your knees and listen and believe what we tell you. And we're going to laugh at you if you don't believe everything we tell you, because you're just silly. You're just silly. Why, you silly boys? Of course, there's no hope except science. Science and NASA is our only hope. Watch what he says. Now, like I said, I don't want to put words in his mouth. You tell me what you think he's trying to say. Watch this.
But wait, there's more. Carl Sagan could not have predicted 2021, but he did see it coming. He wrote the following back in 1995, and we quote, "I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media. The 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less. Lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance. Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later, realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
Wow. Oh, man. I honestly am not sure if I am qualified to diagnose this ailment, okay? I mean, this is going to be a little above my pay grade. But what we just witnessed, friends, was the voice of insanity having us take a look back in time at the appointed voice that Bill Gates and the other, billionaires like at that time, the Warren Buffetts of the world or whatever that were buying up the monopolies of the world and trying to, they owned all the media and they were trying to manipulate our minds and get us, they did a psyop and said, we went to the moon, right? And then, of course, Buzz Aldrin, as we saw yesterday, admits that the entire thing was manufactured. It was animated. It wasn't even we didn't actually see anybody go to the moon. He just basically stopped short of saying the whole thing was faked, And so here we have the man who's probably, I didn't see the whole program, this guy on NBC, whatever, he's probably just got through saying something about now wear your MASK and of course get your SHOT and make sure you go down in your basement. Don't come out for the rest of your life. Be very scared. We all have to go underground now. Just give up. Just open the window and jump out. Now, this is the message that this man is every day declaring to the world, every, day at 6 o'clock sharp or whatever. He's the face of NBC, the great news master. And he wants to take us on a little journey about stupidity. Take us back to his prodigy, the science world voice. And he wants us to remember that, because, a lot of you people probably think the world's gone crazy, right? And he even mentioned the word 2021. Like, okay, here it is. We're in the year 2021. And even the master news announcer, who was, by the way, fired for pedophilia or some, I don't know what he was fired for some kind of infidelity or whatever. So hideous that, of course, he had to be banished from the airwaves in shame for some period of time, quarantined, I guess, until we all forgot about what he did. I guess they couldn't find proof of more than 3 people he raped or something, so they just let it go. But he's now back on television with that face, that kind of face that looks like he might have been born as a twin to another paraplegic, some kind of aborted, did baby gone wrong? I really don't know. But he has now been given this position as the voice of radio, I guess, or television now, and he's trying to tell us that if we had just listened to Carl Sagan and got rid of our stupid beliefs in this silly God thing and stop believing in all this love and unity, stop believing in this Jesus thing, you idiots. See, it's your fault that we had to bring out the big guns and inject it right into your arms. And, it's out of our goodness and kindness that we, just kind of letting you guys take the little Valium pills and go to sleep. Okay, so you drool a little bit. But you know what? At least you're happy now. Because, guys, I cannot imagine or think of in my mind. Now, if any of you can, let me know. But me personally, I've racked my brain trying to find something else that reaches this level of insanity. They're always lying to us. Like when they say, you got to get the shot or else you might cause a pandemic. But now that you've all gotten the SHOT, you idiots, you've got to go get your booster because everybody that's getting the SHOT is now getting another variant. So therefore now we've just all got to go out and get another SHOT because, you see, then that way we can say, oh, look, it's spreading some more and you'll have to go out and get another one. And see, this how this works. So don't try to rely on your own inner concepts of truth or your own sense of logic or anything like that. The idea that this is a beautiful world that had to have been made by a creator, and perhaps you can't make something from nothing, and maybe therefore we are the divine being. The divine spark is within us. We're all children of this divine being who has a plan. Maybe it's love. Maybe we can actually get along and depend on our creator for food and clothing and happiness, and not these scientists that say that the only way we're going to ever have any kind of life at all is if we give up all of our rights and get down on our knees and worship the beast. I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know what did anybody else hear that? Or am I just tripping? I don't know. I really just heard somebody apologizing and admitting, kind of coming down to our level and saying, listen, guys, we understand that you believe in the Lord Jesus. We understand that this is a battle, right, that we're trying to sort of erase all of the concepts that are in your mind about God and love and freedom and bearing your arms and having the right to free speech, all this silly stuff that you guys used to believe in. Okay, you should just remember that we've always known the truth. Wait, but let me show you a picture. Look, here's Carl Sagan on the Johnny Carson show telling us that we were going to reach this point. See, he knew it. We knew it. See, that's my brother, Carl. Freud knew it too. Probably could show a clip of him saying, the world's coming to an end because people are going to start believing in God and people are going to start trying to love one another, and this just can't happen. Well, we've got to go back and worship Freud and Darwin and Einstein and of course, join Karl Marx, because the only kind of government that's possible on this earth is slavery and communism and laws, and you've got to get a permit and be told what to do and told what to think. That's the only possible way. So now, listen, they want you to believe that there is nothing special about human life. That's what Carl Sagan was saying. He's saying, look, if you went into a spaceship and went to another galaxy and found another planet with some sort of living things, he didn't deny there isn't many living organisms and creatures, but he said they would all look completely different than humans. They wouldn't be humanoid, but they would be as intelligent as humans, or maybe more intelligent. Of course, it's just like a rolling dice. He believes in just chance, just utter chance. So therefore, it's just by chance that humans even exist, and may even be that we are God, right? Maybe there is no other creatures, but if there were, as if he's getting us ready to accept the concept that, look, there is no God, guys. We might actually find another creature out there, but we're probably going to find out that humans, a humanoid, it doesn't actually rule the universe. Man's not really the crowning creation. We don't believe in that anymore. See, you've been lied to. Man is nothing. We're not the most intelligent being. We're not divine. We weren't the crowning of the Lord's creation. There's no purpose for this existence. There's no kingdom of Christ. And Jesus isn't coming. Now just get used to that, you silly, stupid people. And when you look at the stuff going on today, the riots, the upheaval, the famines that are coming, the wars, remember, it's your fault because you didn't believe in us. And get in line and get your SHOT. Remember, it's your fault because you laughed at Carl Sagan, because you thought Einstein was silly. You didn't believe in NASA. Oh, you silly, stupid people. That's why, you see, the world's coming to an end and the cities are crumbling around us, and there is no more stability and the economy's collapsing. It's because you didn't worship us. So now, if you guys want to come out of this craziness, what's the craziness, Mr. NBC newscaster? The craziness is not that we must lift up Carl Sagan and believe he was an extraordinary man ahead of his time and believe every word that he represented, NASA and all of their lies, and science and all of their lies, and government and all of their intimidation. And here is the extraordinary lie that I think the man was spouting out of his mouth. He gives us as the example. Well, okay. He says, by saying that Carl Sagan predicted something, he says, Carl Sagan predicted, and here we are in 2021, and how could he ever have known this? And my mind immediately thinks, yeah, okay. What are you, crazy? I mean, look, what you're doing is a classic switcheroony. What he was doing is trying to confuse you, because when we look at the world today in 2021, we immediately go, you know what? I've been saying that something's screwed up in the world since this last year, since this pandemic, this is crazy. We all know it. Like, finally, right? The announcer of NBC News, the great all-knowing newscaster, is finally admitting what we've always known. Something crazy is happening. The world is falling apart. What the heck is going on? It's crazy. You see? It was so crazy that, it had to have been foreseeable, right? Certainly somebody, one of the prophets, must have seen this, right? Well, turn to your book of CARL Sagan, chapter 1 and verse 1. It's your fault, stupid, because you thought the world was made by God. It's your fault, stupid, because you listened to the scriptures. If you had just listened to a scientist, everything would be fine, and we wouldn't. So what would have happened if we'd have just listened to CARL Sagan, the great prophet? Well, I guess what he's saying is we'd all just file down to the local hospitals, right? Or maybe your Walmart and your Walgreens. I guess they're free there, and just stand in line and hold out your arm. See, if we'd have just done that, come on, this is what's so crazy. Not this pandemic. Okay, that's not crazy. Not the fact that everybody has now got a mandate. We have no economy. We're quarantining the entire world for a cold virus and shutting down the economy, and people are going to be starving to death. We're causing World War III. We're not listening to the American people. We have no representative government. On and on and on and on, and all the new laws and the harassment by the police. Should we go any further? And more prisons, right? Trillions of dollars that we hand over to the other countries, and then let all the terrorists in. You see, this is crazy, and we know it. So what this man wants you to believe is that, you see, this was all foretold by the great prophet CARL Sagan. And so what did CARL Sagan say? He said the world was going to hell in a handbasket because we believed in God. He said the world was going to hell in a handbasket because we didn't believe that everything evolved from a pollywog. And that perhaps man is not special. And that there may be beings on other planets or even in other galaxies that will be more intelligent than we are, but they won't look like us. And when they do arrive, you idiots, just get down on your knees and worship them. You see, and then that way everything will go smoothly, right? That's what he wanted you to believe. That's what he wants you to. It's odd to me because it seems like I've almost got to interpret this great prophet. Perhaps I have become the great interpreter of the great CARL Sagan. All you got to do, look, if you want to know your future, it's really simple. They got a new little invention. Probably CARL Sagan invented it, maybe. At least he was what made it famous when he went on to Johnny Carson. But it's this little crystal. It's like made out of glass. It's kind of like a little round, concave crystal. It's amazing, right? You touch it. It's like you just push on it, click, and then pictures appear on it, right? And they always sing little jingles like, Libby, 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 on the label, label, label. Oh, it's so exciting to listen to all of this stuff. It gets stuck in your mind, and that way it helps you to remember to go out and get your Libby's, 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 so you can put it on your table. And, life cereal, Mikey will eat it. He'll eat anything. This is the kind of stuff that it was drilled into us, right? This important information that we were supposed to remember. Right? I'd rather fight than switch, and the Marlboro Man and all this stuff, and Coors and Bud Light, and it was great. We learned all about the most important things, and the little purple pill, and we saw all the little beautiful things that would happen after you took that pill. Flowers would start blooming all around you, and little puppy dogs would come, wagging their tail and play with the little kittens, and nature scenes would appear all over in the sunshine when just beautiful. Right? As long as you know and obey the man inside the bubble. And he will tell you your future. And he will give you all kinds of luxurious, amazing things to enjoy. And you don't have to believe in God, you see. And you're stupid if you do. And if you try to go against the grain, then we'll just label you stupid. And probably you won't be able to be stupid very long. It's kind of like I just went to McDonald's for a minute. I had to get some coffee because, it's cold out and you need a cup of coffee once in a while. So I went in and I decided to go through, instead of going through the drive-through, I decided to pull up and go inside and get the coffee because, you know, I got a crazy instructions that comes with my coffee order. Like, it's got to have this many creams and just one little touch of sugar. Darn it, they don't have honey there. But I'm in there and I'm getting my coffee, and I'm noticing that the song that is playing in the background is a song that would literally drive me insane if I had to listen to it for more than 5 minutes. And I noticed that the entire time I was in there, and I've heard this many times before, the same song plays. They have like 10 or 20 songs that just play over and over and over again. And they don't play them just once in a row. I think they play them 2 or 3 times, and then they go to another song. And every one of these songs are like old songs that just get stuck in your head. And they're all some weird beat, and it's all some crazy digital message. And I couldn't even hear the message, but it sounded like something like, go kill yourself, go kill yourself. I don't know. I couldn't even hear what it was saying, but it sounded like that to me. And I had to literally get out of there. It was crazy. But, let me go back and put his actual words on the screen. I guess those are the words that come from Carl Sagan's book. And it says the book is called Carl Sagan, The Demon Haunted World. Okay, he doesn't believe in God, but he does believe in demons. And evidently, but he says, I have a foreboding. See what I tell you? He's like a prophet. He's got prophetic forebodings. They're warnings to the world. Of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time. Wow, he's got the dates right, huh? Ooh, who could have foretold? When the United States is a service and information economy. When nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries. Wow. You see, Carl Sagan knows that that would be a bad thing. This is foreboding. This is a warning. There's coming a time when all the manufacturing industries have slipped away. But isn't that their plans? I mean, like, we supposedly have manufacturing because we're selfish little greedy peasants who believe in God, and we're hanging on to our Bibles and our guns. But yet, see how they twist everything around? They know that you know that you're suffering. And they know that you know why you're suffering. Because they've told you why. Because you don't have any jobs. And we got to have jobs. In other words, we got to be slaves or we can't be happy. We have to have this thing in the world where everybody is going from, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, or maybe you want to work 10, 11, 12 hours a day because, after all, we've got to build our infrastructure. And this is so important. And we're really going to be happy if we just keep building and building. Why, there's more prisons to build for your children. There's more propaganda to tell them. There's more lies we've got to spread. This is going to be a panacea for the world if we can just convince everybody to accept the lies. You see, but here's the thing. You've got to get people to think. And you've got to get them to think in such a way that you always come back around to believing that they're right and you're wrong. And what you see with your actual eyes, they got to admit what you're seeing. Okay, you're seeing the collapse of society. There's no jobs in 2021. And Carl Sagan predicted it. The how and why did he predict it? The darn economy, you see, can be great, and then we'll all be happy when there's jobs everywhere. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to collapse the world because you don't want there to be no jobs, right? You were complaining when you were our slave. Now that there's no jobs and you're starving to death, you want to be our slave again? See, we knew you really wanted to be our slave. We knew that all along. But we had to convince you. We had to get you on board. So what we did is we collapsed the world. And then we're going to take you back to where we said, remember? Remember where we said that this would happen? And there's a reason why this is all happening. And it's happening because you're all idiots and you believe in God. All we got to do is admit all the problems and then turn your attention to the actual reason why everything's happening and make you believe that it's happening because you're stupid and humans are the problems. We just got to get rid of humans. And as long as we can get to the place where humans will then finally vote against humans, when we can brainwash people so bad that they actually start voting against their own interests, and then that's when we know that they're believing our great prophet, Carl Sagan. So watch what else, listen to the insanity of everything he's saying here. Just try to wrap your mind around this, because this gets even more convoluted. So Carl Sagan says, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, anyone, does the guy, the announcer on NBC, does he believe this? What kind of, backwards psychology is this, where they're looking you square in the eye, telling you the truth, but leading you to a lie or to some conclusion that's ridiculous? We all know that there are technical or technological powers like Bill Gates and Elon Musk, and they are very few, and they own everything. It's a big monopoly. We know this is a problem. The great prophet told us this. And the great NBC announcer is admitting that this is true. And then it says there's no one representing the public. Well, we get that. That's the problem. So why then does the NBC news anchor constantly, day in and day out, try and tell us that Biden, who was, he stole the office of presidency? We all proved that. Everybody knows that it was completely a hoax, that those machines threw the vote. We didn't actually vote for anybody. And who's really running the country? George Soros and Bill Gates and Elon Musk, of course. You see, we all kind of know that. Our mind would logically get that from what they're saying, but yet they're staring you right in the face and making you think, see, we win. See, the conclusion that you should grasp, that you will come to if you look at the world and all the ridiculous stuff going on, you will come to the same conclusion that any intelligent person would come to. The world's falling apart. So, okay, so that's the first point. This is like algebra, okay? This is A. Now, we've got to get to B. If you know the distance between B and C, then you might be able to figure out the distance between A and B, right? So we know then that all these terrible things are happening. So that's what we're going to start in our computation in our mind. He's going to guide you here so you'll come to this revelation. The news announcer here, I don't even know his name right now. He wants you to come to the conclusion that you should listen to Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan predicted all this. But the underlying reasoning that Carl Sagan gives is that we should not believe in God, and we should just believe in scientists. Well, isn't Elon Musk trying to get us to Mars? Isn't that science? And he's one of the very few that has all this awesome technological powers in his hand. So that should be a bad thing, right? But they're switching it. And they're saying, look, because you don't trust us, because you haven't fully given us your soul, you didn't put your head in the noose when we told you to. Therefore, you see, the world's going to all perish. This is the tragedy that, yes, the very few have all the power. And yes, there's no one representing us. But the reason that is your fault is because Carl Sagan said so, I guess. Forget about the other part, about the world. So it's, in other words, what they're doing, the underlying lie here is that the world's falling apart because we didn't believe in God. It's really, they go through that many hoops in your mind, this psychological propaganda. Well, you know what? Here's what this is kind of like. It's kind of like a yogi or a shaman who says he can do great miracles. And there are great shamans who could probably do great miracles, but they're not going around, bragging or trying to demonstrate their great power, and get followers and stuff like that and have great harems. No, they're literally seeking truth and love, and they don't blow a trumpet before them. But it would be like one of these shysters who says, listen, stand around and I'll show you a great miracle. Look at, there, out of nowhere, I can make a lemon tree appear. Well, what you don't know is before you got to the party, everybody got a drink. And you drank, and they made sure that you drank it because maybe they made sure it was real hot or something, and you're all thirsty and dying of thirst, and they all gave you a bottle of water. You drank the water, and now, see, you were drugged. They gave you a hallucinatory drug, and through mesmerism, they were able to guide your thoughts into believing stuff that never happened. That's what this is. This is a charlatan. He's not a prophet at all. And his accomplice or his scribe, this NBC news anchor, is probably just about as worthless. Listen to what else they're saying. When the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas, What? I can't believe that they're actually starting off by telling us the actual truth. And then this whole thing is somehow spun around so that we can believe a lie. I'm still completely flabbergasted, using a word my mother used to use. I'm completely flabbergasted. So we've lost the ability to set our own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority. Yeah, we're not even allowed to question the authority. Just take your SHOT, man. Question those in authority. When clutching our crystals and are nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline. So he uses a little catchphrase to kind of throw you off here. He says, we're stupid because we're clutching our crystals and consulting our horoscopes. Actually, he's talking to Christians. We're the idiots that don't believe in God. The people looking at their horoscope, most of them don't believe in God either, right? They probably believe in the devil, or a lot of them, right? Some of them are just like, oh, we're neutral. We like the devil too. Come on, you've got to give everybody a fair chance. That's how they think, right? So, in other words, it's one of those little veers in his little psychological manipulation instructions for mankind. He's throwing you a curveball, and then you're thinking, oh yeah, people who believe in horoscopes are stupid, aren't they? So therefore, everything he said made sense, except that what he's really trying to do is tell everybody, go back to your horoscopes. Get your predictive programming from CARL Sagan. Look into the glass crystal, and Johnny Carson will come out and do a little show for you, make you laugh, tell you something you didn't know. Back in the day, the jester used to go in before the king to entertain him. If the king didn't like the entertainment, he'd probably off with his head, right? So they had to go in and do a little dance and please the king. So, you see, they understand that they're doing this little dance. It's a drama. It's a staged show. It's a theater. It's a theatrical spectacle. And they are trying to convince you, and they know you're the king. See, you're the one who controls everything. If they can just pacify you, maybe you'll agree to give them half of their kingdom. Or maybe you could take all their kingdom, the idiots, right? If you could get into the king's chambers, and while you're in there, right, you pull out a dagger and you boom, right in the eye. That's what they're trying to do. While they've got your attention, they're trying to take out your psyche and your common sense lobe that's in the brain, right behind the pineal gland, right? They've taken and fed you some heavy metals or some chemicals that have taken out the little common sense lobe, right? The God particle. They took it out, so you can't figure any of this out. They take you down the maze and switch off and go down this way or that way and get you confused so fast you feel like you literally have to believe them. Like, you couldn't bear the pain of being a non-believer because everybody's going to point the finger at you And you might have to live like in the woods in a cabin with no running water. One of those silly people that, like a hermit, a homeless person. You don't want to be homeless, right? You need to go and get a job and have a nice car and be a slave from morning till night. Do whatever you're told because you know that's what they want you to do. So, look at what else he says. It just gets crazier as we go. Unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. So, again, he starts off with something that sounds so wise and amazing, because we are getting to a place where we're not able to distinguish between what feels good and what's true. And we are sliding back into a place of superstition where the scientists are telling us things that we cannot prove. Oh, look, we went to the moon. Well, we can prove it. Well, how do we know we went to the moon? Well, look, there's a picture right here on the wall of some guy with a American flag, and it's like blowing in the wind, and there's the earth in the background. Well, that proves it. Yeah, but that's a picture. Can you actually show me some proof? Well, we've got a picture. And by the way, Buzz Aldrin said that, it was animated, but he did say that, probably, he didn't say so, but we have to assume that he actually did go to the moon, right? And that's proof. You silly guys, you won't believe what we've been trying to convince you for 50 years since we left Germany, right, in Project Paperclip. And somehow or another, you no longer can, after we've been doing all of this amazing stuff, we've got all this education from kindergarten unto, your PhD, and everybody's got to get an education, and we're financing that for just about everybody. Everybody's gone to school. Right? We're in the 21st century. But that's not enough, right? The people are going back into superstition. Why are they starting to believe in all this stuff like God and everything? We've been teaching them all this stuff in school for 50, 60 years. But you see, what they're really trying to say is, look, we showed you pictures on your little crystal ball there in the living room, and you don't believe us, right? So he's saying the Bible is superstition. Your mom and dad, what they taught you when you were born, all that's just fairy tales and lore of the ancient idiots, right? Who we don't honor our ancestors. They were stupid. Well, they were probably living in mud brick huts, right? With thatched windows. Why would you believe in them guys? We've got the ability to go to Mars, and we could put Neuralinks in your head. Now listen. We'll put a Neuralink in your head. We'll pull you out of the drawer. We'll hook you up. We'll give you a new avatar body. You'll experience a animated world, and you'll enjoy the holodeck. But when you come out and we pull out the Neuralink, you're supposed to believe that what we have just done is opened your mind to reality. The problem is human beings got to accept our new reality, where we're going to assimilate you into the scientific new construct of the metaverse. And even though, by definition, that is a fake, contrived, simulated world, you're an idiot if you try to hang on to this real world that actually needs a creator. And in fact, the world we're going to put you in has a creator, and it's us. So therefore, we've just proven that God never existed, and we are just overgrown pollywogs, and you basically should worship pollywogs now, because look what they did. They've made this new metaverse for you. So see, that must be what evolution is. We started off as a pollywog, and only on this one earth, right? You can't go and find anyone as great as me, and I'm God, and I want to run the whole universe, because since you don't know if there's intelligent life on other planets, you don't know if there's a God, because you didn't talk to him, did you? Well, at least not in the physical world. You didn't go into the metaverse and see no God, so therefore it can't be true. Yeah, I know you've heard the prophets give you their testimony, and some of you have talked to God and prayed, and the Lord comforts you. But in your moments of honesty, as you're laying there, clutching that bottle of whiskey in the wee hours of the night, watching your porn, you realize life is just worthless. There is no existence. There's no love. Nobody cares. There's no God. I'm going to go join the metaverse right now. I'm putting this bottle down. They probably got fake beer that's better in the metaverse anyway. And you just simply slide right in and acquaint yourself with the new world that you're living in and get your little crypto brownie points, right? You've got all your look at all these billions of dollars. You're a billionaire, right? It's all crypto. You can't spend it, right? You can't buy anything with it, but boy, you're sure rich. What a world where you can pretend to be rich, right? You've got some air that can be moved over into another section of air that we're saying could be money today, but tomorrow may not be anything. But as long as you believe you've got your little nest egg in the air over here, you'll just say, everything's going to be fine. We'll go through the reset and everything will be fine. And I'll have all this money in the air out here where I could just use it anytime I way. Oh, yeah, the government can literally shut the internet down. Then I won't have access to any money. And then, well, probably they got another excuse. You probably didn't listen to the gods and go deep enough into the metaverse because you probably were trying to use your wallet that was privately, a private wallet in your computer. You can't do that. You see, we've got to have control over the world, you idiots. But as long as you just accept your demise, we can do whatever we want. And so the time has come that you've got to recognize science and just assimilate yourself into the megaverse. Now, he continues on, though. It honestly, this insipid insanity just keeps going. The dumbing down of America, he says, is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media. Okay, so this guy on NBC is not the media? Or is he the media? Then if he is, Carl Sagan is actually saying that the media is dumbing down America. And yet now the media wants you to believe that he was a prophet. And this is the reason why the world's coming to an end. Because we're listening to NBC News. That's why the world... Friends, look, this is crazy because I knew this before we even started. Okay, so why am I watching you, Mr. NBC anchor man? I don't even know his name. But he says that the media is the problem and 30-second sound bites. And it's now down to 10 seconds or less. People are stupid, he says. I actually agree with that. People are stupid. But why do you think people are stupid? I think it's because the media, well, that's actually what he said, right? The media is dumbing them down. So why are we celebrating the media for warning us about the media? And then once we accept their analogy and their conclusion that the problem is the media, we are supposed to then keep watching the media and listen to the media because they want us to go out and get our SHOT. And if we don't listen to them, we're all going to die. But yet, the way they want you to believe in them, the reason that they want you to believe in them, the logic behind why you should believe in them is that they're dumbing you down and you're stupid. And of course, that's probably what he meant a minute ago when he said that we don't have any representative in our government anymore, right? Because the media is in cahoots with the lobbyists who are running the pharmaceutical companies. Am I right? How is it that my mind listens to Carl Sagan and somehow or another I still get the truth, but they publish it and put it on primetime news And they must think that somehow or another it's going to make their point for them. The people are going to be so stupid that they can't even follow a logical program that's telling them that they're stupid because the people that they're watching are stupid and telling them stupid things, but just keep watching the stupid things. And therefore, I guess what they're saying is there's just no hope. We're all going to die because we're all stupid. And they're going to keep telling us stupid things, and that's going to make us more stupid, and then we're all going to die. Wow. Thank you, Carl Sagan, for explaining it all to me. Now I get it. And finally, guys, the great prophet says this. They do this down to the lowest common denominator in their programming. Credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance. Man, I honestly don't know how to explain words that convoluted that end in ignorance and starts with the lowest and is supposed to be a set of words that lead one to believe we should all run out and worship the beast. Honestly, I don't get it. And therefore, I think we've all been warned. I think whether you heard the true prophets or you heard their prophets, you should have come to the right conclusion anyway. And if people don't wake up, then I think it's simply because they didn't want to. They've been given all the information that they need to turn that thing off and go back to the love of godliness and the faith in Jesus. I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.